and welcome to New Game Plus. My name is Tim and I'm joined by Don. How are you?
I'm fantastic. I'm enjoying life at the moment.
What is this life thing you're talking about? I've been spending all my time playing World of Warcraft Legion because my name is Tim.
It's pretty much that at the moment. It really is a way of life. When a new expansion comes around for World of Warcraft, you basically just you shut off from the rest of the world. The only world that matters is Azeroth.
You apply for your annual leave, you get yourself comfy, you buy yourself some popcorn and some nachos.
Lots of snacks.
Yes.
But it seems like what a lot of WoW players are doing lately, because WoW subscriptions have dropped off from the ridiculous, 14 million or something it was at one point. Now it's just people getting back into expansions every time they come out and having long hiatuses once they've done all the content and can't be bothered raiding. But it really seems like it's not a game anymore. It's more of just a social experience.
It's basically a really pretty social networking platform, isn't it?
Basically, you go on there, you talk to your guildies, you do some leveling, you do some dungeons, maybe some raids.
You get nostalgic about the old days where you used to schedule your Friday nights to go for all-night raids.
Yes, now we're not using Ventrilo, it's all about the Discord nowadays.
Yeah.
But it's been a lot of fun this time around. Like I got back into Draenor quite a bit, and I think the main disadvantage was it didn't feel like a big MMO because you were always in your garrison thingy, and half the fun of MMOs is just the ridiculous stuff when there's like thousands of people trying to get to the one objective, and that sort of stuff's a lot of fun, and it's something that you always get when MMOs launch, just thousands of people in the one place trying to do the same thing, and it's a lot of fun.
And you get at the very least a small taste of that just in the opening week of Legion, don't you?
Yes, and then it starts to die off a bit, but we'll see if it maintains interest, because after a month of the new content, doing all the raids and dungeons, you start to get a bit bored of
and then you just
sometimes.
Go back to Hearthstone then.
Yes, or you play other games, like Formula 1, which you played this week.
Yes, we reviewed that in this episode, and we also check out Bandai Namco, and did I say that? I meant Namco Bandai. We check out some of the new games upcoming soon, including Final Fantasy 15.
Yes, we've got the news with you, and first up, we'll go into our first review.
So, Kirby games, as everybody knows, are my weakness. If there's one Nintendo franchise that I will play basically any game they release, it is Kirby. I don't know what it is. I think it's that unique mix of kind of platforming with the way they do the whole power absorption thing, with King Dedede showing up, and he has the same power as Kirby, but he refuses to take anyone's power because he thinks he's already perfect. Like pure sheer arrogance. I mean, you just can't beat that. So I love Kirby games, and so when I heard Kirby Robobot was coming out, I'm like, that's worrying, because when they do the gimmicky ones, they tend to be not great. Like, I didn't mind the crayon one on Wii U, but it was very much a different format. This is a fantastic game. One of the best games of the year so far, hands down. It basically, you switch between traditional Kirby gameplay, where you absorb powers, use it to pass missions, use it to beat bosses and pass levels. But it's probably one of the few games I've seen that actually uses 3D meaningfully. So obviously there's two planes, but the way the actual game is rendered, a lot of the motion when it comes towards you and away from you really works. It really looks good. It's the only 3D game that doesn't make me turn it off after like 10 seconds because my eyes can't hack the 3D. So for me, it ticks a lot of those boxes. As far as the 3DS games go, it is really technically sound. The robot parts are fun. So the robot has the same power. You can do punches and attacks, and you've got all the extra stuff. Plus, it can obviously break through barriers and things, but it also absorbs powers. So you can have a power of Kirby, and then you can have a power for the robot, and then you have to use that to solve certain puzzles as well. So it's basically a traditional Kirby game, and that was my worry going in, that it was going to be one of the kind of the spin-offs, but it's very much a really strong traditional Kirby game. So again, based on that, you're either going to love it or hate it, because some people don't like the Kirby game for whatever reason, because they don't have souls. I don't understand it. But I mean, realistically, how can you not like the most powerful character in the Nintendo universe? And I will argue this until you get bored and walk away, but Kirby is the strongest character in the Nintendo universe by far, and he's made a great, fantastic game here.
So Donald, you and I both like our racing games, but you've surprised me recently by revealing that you actually really like F1.
I've gotten a little bit into F1 recently. I followed this season in particular. I've got my favorite team, Team Haas, of course.
Gene Haas is the man.
Yes. And so it was good. It was a perfect time then to dive into a true racing sim like Formula 1 2016.
And to be honest, I haven't really looked at F1 in a long time, and I'm actually genuinely surprised, like, hey, this is actually a legitimately good racing game.
Yeah, especially after last year, which was much more just getting the racing engine ready for the current generation of consoles. This year, they've had a real chance just to iron out all the kinks, and they've nailed the simulation aspect of Formula 1.
Right. I think the thing that I take away from it is I love it does a really good job of making you immersed in F1. Like, it has things like the safety car and the formation lab, which doesn't really mean a lot in regards if you're not really familiar with F1, but in regards to making it into a big part of gameplay, not to mention adding that into the practice days before qualifying, it's a really big deal because it gets you kind of familiar with the track. It gets you hitting apexes. It gets you learning how to play a track, which is a really big thing for a racing game.
It still doesn't teach you quite a fair few things that you need to really master an F1 car. Like, tire degradation is a major factor if you're going through the career mode and going through longer races. And the game doesn't really teach you how to maintain that sort of thing. You still have to sort of just learn that for yourself. But it does manage to just... The experience of just racing is unlike anything else I've played in a Formula 1 racing game.
I've had stories where I've been driving for 20 minutes and I realize I just get cocky, like I just want to win this race. I want to win this race, and I realize, oh wait, no, I've completely ignored my pit team. Now I'm screwed. It's like, well.
And even then, just from the moments of just feeling your tires degrade over the course of the race, or just accidentally hitting a puddle during a wet race, and then just suddenly just losing all form of grip. You really feel that in the Xbox One controller.
Codemasters games, so they do a great job of making the car feel great. The game looks great. It runs really well.
Even though it doesn't quite run at 60 frames per second on the Xbox One.
True, but the sound also really works. Because again, look, I like it. Like, to me, it's a game that I was really surprised by.
It really does capture the verisimilitude of the Formula 1 weekend. People were excited a couple of weeks ago when Deus Ex Mankind Divided was released. They were swatting up on their Deus Ex lore and secretly writing their Adam Jensen erotic fan fiction. Until that is, news started coming up about the game's use of microtransactions. Sure, this was a single-player game with no multiplayer mode, but you can still purchase in-game currency, upgrade kits, and even gun skins. You know, for when you want to show off your elite 360 no-scope skills to some generic NPC. And then it also turned out that some of these items were also single-use, meaning that they couldn't carry over in a future playthrough. Now, at this point, as the presenter on a satirical gaming news segment, I'm legally required to make the obvious. I didn't ask for this goof. So let's just get this out of the way. A 1, a 2, a 3. I didn't ask for this. There. Happy now? By the way, our gaming barbershop quartet, the Nintendones, will be performing such classic memes as Arrow to the Knee and The Cake is a Lie. Check for local dates at your local RSL. This is but another story in the short but dense history of microtransactions, which began in 2006 when the Elder Scrolls Oblivion tried to sell horse armor. Back then, we laughed, but things changed very quickly. Just look at Team Fortress 2 when it started selling hats. People may have protested first, but come 2011, the hat economy was estimated to be worth over $50 million. This is larger than the GDP of the island nation of Tuvalu. And this is despite the fact that Tuvalu has a very strong hat game. Today, we are climbing over ourselves to decorate our avatars and our avatar horses. We've transformed from Mr. Bumble staring down at these cosmetic trinkets to Oliver Twist himself asking for more. And yes, this analogy is appropriate, given that that bowl of gruel probably cost $2.50 and is made up of horse parts. Poor Roach. It really hasn't taken long for microtransactions to permeate every section of gaming, and the silent victim of all of this is the humble cheat code. As recently as last generation, all you had to do was press a simple 25-button combination in order to unlock Big Head mode or whatever. As recently as Rise of the Tomb Raider, Big Head mode was a microtransaction. Now, this is the first time that this sentence has ever been said outside of a red light district, but I don't want to have to pay that much money for Big Head. Whole genres have formed out of microtransactions. Look at the free-to-play scene. And of course, if you're not paying for the game, then the developers really do want you to spend money on microtransactions. And they are pulling every psychological trick possible to get you to do so. Blind boxes hook onto your inner gambler. Inventory limits and timers hook onto our aversion to loss. And the fact that you're using digital currencies means you don't know the true value of what you're purchasing. And even the fact that you're purchasing it in bulk means that you're separating the pain of the purchase with the eventual joy of picking up the good things, meaning you're more likely to spend money. When these all combine together, they create the worst of pay-to-win games. And the major example of this is Clash Royale. That game is just scientifically engineered to get people spending, and spending big. Chief Pat, one of the major Clash Royale streamers, said that he had spent $12,000 on that game in its first month. Everything is designed to get some money out of you, even the emotes. When Supercell were asked whether they would allow an ability to mute these emotes, they said they wouldn't. Quote, "Evoking strong emotions is at the heart of why we're not planning to implement a mute option." Of course, Supercell want you to be angry. You spend more money when you're angry. You know what, Supercell? To your comment, I have one particular emote for you. And you know what? You don't even have to pay for this one, Supercell. This one is on the house. So compared to what we could have gotten, we kind of got off lightly with Mankind Divided. The game isn't balanced towards requiring the purchase of microtransactions to win. You can actually finish the game without doing any of that. And you know what? It's almost kind of in flavor as well. The non-microtransactioners campaigning against the people who have augmented their games with purchased Praxis kits. And that is everything. Wait, I'm sorry. You're saying Knuckles in this game? You know what? I take back everything I've said about Mankind Divided. Boys!
I didn't ask for this!
And that is everything that has happened in the world ever. You guys are supposed to be joining in this part ever. Screw you guys.
Now, Shaney, it is post TI. Congratulations to Wings Gaming because it was theirs from the get go.
And I called it.
No, and that's true. And
I called it.
Like they were in my top three. I thought OG had taken, then OG just scrubbed out. But that brings us to our kind of the point of what we're here to talk about. It's shuffle time.
Shuffle time.
Throw everyone in the air and see where they land.
Because, yeah, that's how it's basically gone. EG, rip. OG, half rip. What
Secret.
else?
If you consider that rip, can you already kill a dead team?
Unrip? Maybe?
I would say unrip.
Unrip.
Forev MP are now part of Secret.
Yeah.
So the two kind of superstars from MVP Phoenix who did very well in TI. They got figured out. No, they got figured out. They kind of had the opposite problem to Wings, where Wings didn't get figured out. And so they've now gone to Secret with Pilo Die and Puppy.
As well as, is it Mid-1? Mid-1 from Fnatic. So
yes.
They got the SEA.
It's such a strange, like Mid-1 of all characters from Fnatic. I didn't think it'd be Mid-1. Like all players.
I think he was
Need some moose shit. Get some moose shit up in there.
No, but Mid-1 was surprisingly good mid-player. So, you know, it works. And Arteezy Mid-1, it's like...
Yeah, I wonder who I'd pick.
Exactly.
Yeah. But the other thing with EG is that Zai's been released from contract.
Yep.
However, EG has technically been released from contract because GGA, the company that owns both EG and Alliance, got bought by Twitch/Amazon.
Yeah, that was about 2-3 years ago. Yeah.
And so probably about a couple of days ago now, GGA is now gone.
Yep.
It's over. And Twitch has incorporated what looks like EG and Alliance into their esports fold. So what that means for EG, who knows? I think the team will stay, like whoever's left of the team.
There's still reports from Twitch esports, I think, that their teams are still going to be existing. Their rosters may or may not exist. Who knows? Because RIP EG, you know, basically Fears RIP. We've got, I think the only one that really hasn't been reported RIP is PPD.
Peter Pumpernickel.
People.
Yeah. Well, and on the flip side of that, Alliance. The only two left in Alliance is Loader and EGM. Which is surprising because it's the first time Arcane and Loader are playing on different teams. So the rumour then becomes OG scrubbed out at thing. They really did.
Yep.
They got shut down real hard. So the current rumour is S4 Bulldog OG.
S4 Bulldog, and as well as from Liquid, Team Liquid. Who am I thinking? Jirax.
Jirax.
That's the team.
Correct.
So them as well as Fly and
No Tail.
No Tail, which
That is a
big.
scary team. On
Like-
paper, that is world beaters.
But is that better than Miracle? That's the
But
question.
then, so there's 3 cores you can build on. You're not stuck. We're hoping that Miracle has a good game to make
Like
things
you
work.
could argue that was never really OG because they had like No Tail doing pretty well. Fly was like making.
That was
amazing
Crit as well,
support.
wasn't it?
Crit as well with the support plays. Like the team wasn't just that. And
Before we wrap up, though,
Yep.
the important one: Navi stays the same.
yeah, well, they're shit anyway.
Oh, well.
BT-7274. Your data recorder says your original pilot was killed in action.
Correct. My original pilot was KIA. I am now linked to Rifleman Jack Cooper.
Who authorized this?
We had no other options.
What are your protocols?
Protocol 1. Link to pilot. Protocol 2. Uphold the mission. Protocol 3.
BT!
Protect the pilot.
Stand by for Titanfall.
Trust me.
I'm looking forward to actually being able to play this game because when Titanfall 1 came out, you couldn't play it when you were on Optus.
that was a thing, wasn't it?
It was a thing. Optus's routing. It's good stuff.
First prize.
But this game is looking interesting because it's taking a lot of mechanics from, let's say, newer first-person shooters.
Yes, it's in a strange place too, because when Titanfall first came out, like the momentum of that game was unlike any other. The mechs were just cool. Nowadays, Call of Duty has really caught up in terms of just the combat flow, and
Yes.
like the only differentiating mechanic Titanfall has now is, well, the Titans.
Yes, the abilities that seem to be, it's going for that Overwatch sort of style. Each Titan has special abilities that you can use rather than just having differences in your weapon layouts.
Yeah.
But it'll be interesting because these are the original COD developers, obviously, and they're going for that fast-paced gameplay, whereas Battlefield 1 is going for a much slower pace. So we'll see how that works out.
I just want to take a robot and stab another robot with my giant robot sword.
Now, Shani, we were given the opportunity to go on down to Acme X, where Namco Bandai were holding some of their upcoming games, but it's not just Namco Bandai.
Not just Namco Bandai.
It was also Square Enix.
Which was a lot because there was Kingdom Hearts, sorry.
Kingdom Hearts?
Which is the Birth by Sleep kind of expansion / demo,
Yeah,
which is like
whatever it is, yeah,
it's
yeah.
10 minutes of gameplay. It was just basically a tease, and
Yeah.
you know,
Calm down.
yeah, well,
Not all game demos, anyway.
and there was Dragon Quest Builders,
Yep.
and then there was World of Final Fantasy, then there was Final Fantasy 15
Yes.
also.
And so we should cover off the Namco Bandai stuff, because
Yep.
then we'll give you enough time to talk about Final Fantasy. Xenoverse.
Xenoverse, it's another Xenoverse. If you enjoyed
Xenoverse is the highest selling Dragon Ball Z game out of all
that's
of them.
true, and like it's probably going to be
It's
another
gonna be
good one.
Like
'cause-
Forrest Gumping the whole universe again.
yes, basically.
Yeah.
Next is Tekken.
Tekken.
Yep, which
Tekken's Tekken.
it's like
It
going.
looks really nice though.
It is the most beautiful like fighting game. I'm gonna say that. Even
no,
someone,
I can't.
like,
I can't. And
like-
you know, I'm not a big fan of Tekken, but credit where it's due.
Guilty Gear is probably the only other one that's kind of like almost at that level, but I still think Tekken.
It was very pretty, and the motion, everything about it, the way they've done the anti-aliasing, it just looks fantastic.
Yeah. I guess then we go to Square Enix.
Go
then.
on.
Yeah. All right. So World of Final Fantasy, it's basically a Vita game. It's also on PS4. You probably want to be playing it on your Vita, but it's not one of those ones where it actually lacks a little bit on the PS4. It actually looks still very, very nice on the PS4. The gameplay itself works very well as a handheld game. You still can play it on your home console, and it still works very, very well. And cross-save, so you can do
Just
badge
switch
votes
between
and
the two.
it's
Yeah.
great. Then we go Kingdom Hearts. Yes, it was just freaking 5 minutes of gameplay and then like 10 minutes of cutscenes.
10 minutes of Donald Duck, yep.
Yeah, I wanted more, but I guess that was the reason for it. I just want more.
Dragon Quest Builders.
Dragon Quest Builders, it's Minecraft / Dragon Quest, but a little bit more creative than just the shitty creepers and stuff. And
Go on.
Okay. Final Fantasy 15. I'm hype. I'm just going to put that out.
So, that's the question, because watching the E3 demo,
yeah.
God, the E3 demo was bad. Let's be real. It looked fucking dreadful.
I think it also didn't help that there was, the VR was the main draw point in the demo.
And
it's probably not going to be that great.
But does it feel like it came together? Can you see the game being what you hope it's going to be? Or is it going to be another, 30 hours of running through corridors?
It's not, they've gone the exact opposite direction. Everything is, open world. Does that weaken it a little bit? I'm not 100% sure if it's going to maybe hurt the story or hurt even just a linear driving story, but it's still a very, very beautiful and very well, I guess, core game to it. So, I don't know. I'm keen.
Shane confirmed Fujoshi.
Fujoshi. F*** you.
Now, everyone is absolutely excited about Final Fantasy 15, aren't they, Tim? Tim? World of Warcraft!
Oh, yes, I'm awake.
Cool.
What are we talking about?
Final Fantasy 15.
I'm going back to bed. People are very excited about it. With good reason, but they still need to understand that it's Square Enix, so they could have another delay. I'm still waiting for it, and it will crush people, absolutely.
I'm not convinced that Final Fantasy 15 is coming out until I actually am holding it in my hand, installing it in my console, and playing it. Until then, it's still just a figment of our collective imaginations. Sure, they've got Kingsglaive and the anime and all the other transmedia things that they're really trying to push this game with.
But it's not the game. That's the main bit that you need.
But having said that, it almost doesn't need to be the game, is it? Like everyone's having their transmedia campaign, their comic books, their special web series. Final Fantasy 15 is just basically the logical conclusion to all of that.
Yeah, that's true. A lot of companies have been pushing for that lately, especially Blizzard. Lots of comic books, lots of, the big movie that happened recently, and lots of just lots of online content as well. So it's been very interesting.
Even the Overwatch with its shorts as well is particularly an example of
they've been
this.
fantastic.
Yeah.
And the Blizzard cinematic team has always been very good.
Of course.
Same with Square Enix. Cinematic teams have always been very good as well.
But next week we have a very special episode of New Game Plus, don't we, Tim?
Yes, Tristan Jones is our guest interviewer, and he will be interviewing...
He'll be interviewing Becky Cloonan, whose work you may recognise from Demo, Gotham Academy, or even Batman.
Both of which are comic book writers and
Illustrators.
Illustrators is
Very
the word
much
I'm looking for.
But that's episode next week. The one after that is our big episode 200.
Yes, these guys will be off in Japan,
You'll be
enjoying
off
the
in
sights. Yes, I'll be in another world.
Yes, but if you want us to check out anything in Japan or you just have any burning requests or shout-outs, please do message us on our Facebook page and we will endeavour to go see it for you.
Or hit up their Twitters.
Yes.
This guy, right here.
Oh yeah, @Ann_Bear, follow me, please. I need validation from you all.
Until then, please visit our website, www.newgameplus.tv.
Like us on Facebook, facebook.com/NewGamePlusTV.
Follow Twitter and Instagram at NewGamePlusTV.
And subscribe to us on YouTube and Twitch. We are New Game Plus TV. One word, no spaces.
Thank you, Don.
Thank you, Tim.
We'll see you guys next week, or the week after.